the system that I teach is very different from a lot of traditional instruction. So people will make comments coming from the understanding of traditional instruction where they might find flaw in the swing that I teach. Well, that's really just coming from the reality that you haven't experienced the swing that I teach. I don't teach this because I want to be a golf instructor. I teach this because I discovered something that not only helps me to play the game better, but has helped thousands of golfers over the last 27 years that I've been teaching. And as I view this and I see the rapid improvement in what they're doing, that's why I'm so passionate about what it is that I teach. I discovered something that really helps you to play golf better. And if what I say is true, your life gets better because the swing I teach is very simple and it produces really high quality results. Now, one of the things I think that was different about me than other competitive golfers as I was growing up is I was willing to make drastic changes in my understanding for the swing. So I feel like I was a very good guinea pig in the pursuit of understanding the golf swing. And that's something that I find happens with my students. If you're brave enough to really take the leap of faith and do what I ask of you, the result of the shots that you will hit are remarkable. Now, sure, it feels weird. It feels different. But you know, our feelings are based upon what you're comfortable with. It doesn't make it right or wrong. So if you think about your life as a golfer and you've struggled with the game, then I would think you might embrace the idea of doing something very different that feels very different in order to create a very different result. You know, the swing I teach, all we're doing is presetting the movements in the setup position. This is all that looks weird or odd compared to traditional golf. But as I look at this, I look at somebody now who has an opportunity to make a really proper swing path, shallow, circular, and descending swing path. So if you go out and you set yourself in a position in the setup, I mean, it should make sense, right? We're playing such an accurate game. We're playing to a very tiny target. Wouldn't it make sense that you'd want to preset the movements for the swing in the setup position so that during the swing you could focus on just keeping your weight still and not swinging hard in order to create a really high quality result? Well, that's what happens from the setup position that I teach. That's why I teach it. If I was just teaching traditional golf instruction, I wouldn't feel like I've done anything purposeful in golf. So I wouldn't bother teaching it. And you know why? Because I see the result that it has amongst the general population. I saw what happened at the country clubs that I taught at. I see what happens in the general population of golfers right now. Golfers struggle with the game. Part of that is because the game is very difficult. The other part of that is because a lot of traditional golf instruction is really not helping you to play a high quality brand of golf. Well, that's what happens with the students that I get to teach. They get to experience, once they work their way through the school, they get to experience a really high quality of playing the game. Not only an improvement in score, because I cut handicaps in half all the time, and then some often, but also on an ease of performance. Because we're presetting the movements for the swing and the setup, we don't have to focus on the movements during the swing. That's a very natural thing that happens in our anatomy. That's a very natural thing that happens when you're doing other sports. You preset the movements for a free throw in the setup in order to have the least amount of movement in the execution of the shot. Well, that's what happens in the swing that I'm teaching. So when you experience that, you'll experience it for yourself. I mean, the swing I teach produces a draw. That's a very rare shot in golf. Most people hit fades, and that's because most people are coming over the top in their swing. Well, when you swing on an inside-out swing path, you don't have to swing hard and you can hit the ball really far. And not only can you hit the ball really far, but you don't have to swing hard, so it's easy on your body. And because you're presetting the movements in the setup position, it's easy to perform because all you got to really focus on is keeping your weight firmly planted on your lead side. So if you have the desire to improve your game, be brave enough to take the leap of faith and do something drastically different. So go out today and find out what happens when you take that leap of faith and you get deep closed in the setup position. As I do this, I'm anchoring my weight in a heavy majority onto my lead side, and I'm closing my body down at about a 45-degree angle. Then from there, I'm extending my arms out and attaching to the club in a position that reflects this closed setup. Because as you pivot your body closed, that changes the relationship of how your hands and arms are. And then from there, I grip and sole the club without sacrificing this closed setup position. And then I just keep my weight firmly planted on my lead foot throughout the swing. And what you'll find out is that you've preset the movements to create a shallow circular and descending swing that's going to create a solid tight draw. And it's with that solid tight draw that you're going to have a very efficient brand of ball flight. And because you're just focused on keeping your weight firmly planted on your lead side, you have a very high ease of performance. Go find out for yourself. Take the leap of faith.